Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Wolfpack Tag Podcast. I am your host, Alex Falcon Spriggs, and in today's podcast, airing on October the 5th, 2019, I will be joined by my two teammates, Cody Squirrel and Ethan Rampage Myers, to discuss some news from around the world and to discuss some ins and outs or pros and cons of HPA systems. We also have a few channel updates that we're going to be talking about. So thank you for coming along, and thank you for joining the pack. And welcome, everybody. This is Falcon Spriggs here, sitting next to me. Cody Squirrel May, sitting across from me. Ethan Rampage Myers, two other founders of our Airsoft team. Hello, boys. How you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm doing all right.
So, not a whole lot of news specific today, but we do have a lot of articles that I've seen and that are kind of common. One common theme going around now is a lot of people are getting arrested, in trouble for just being stupid with their airsoft guns, carrying them out in public, terrorizing people. We have one article that was said that there's two teenagers, ages 15 and 16, have been arrested for breaking in and stealing an airsoft gun and then going on a shooting spree. Nobody was injured because it's an airsoft gun and they're plastic BBs, not actual bullets. So, boys, what can we take away from this? First off,
Don't
people
break into a building and take things.
Well, yeah, that's thou shalt not steal. Kind of is right there.
Common sense.
But I also want to say there are some people in this world that are stupid, and their ignorance and stupidity is leading to trouble for us honest people when it comes to airsoft guns and airsoft playing. I mean, I said in the first podcast, Cody and I were sitting around and we said there's a reason airsoft is becoming so popular. It's because the guns and the equipment are realistic. They're realistic looking, feeling. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people are not necessarily getting into the airsoft for the gameplay, although it's fun. They're getting into it because it's cool. They like being tactical.
Yeah. I know there's some men and women that were in the military. They tried out the sport and they just have a blast. They're like, I miss being in the military and,
Not enough PTSD for my taste.
Yeah. But it's definitely a joy game. It's a hobby for some people, and then some people think it's a sport. I'm both ways. It's a sport and a hobby for me.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's really easy to get into. It's not expensive to just join up. I mean...
Yeah, no, just if you have a friend and he has an extra gun, tag along with him. He'll give you a extra gun and a battery and a high cap with some BBs, and just go out there and sling some BBs.
And even just to pick it up, I mean, when I first started into it, and I think, Cody, you were the same way. When we first started into it, it was the clear plastic Walmart shotguns.
Yeah.
Those were the first things. But that whole idea of, hey, I actually have a gun that I can run around and shoot my friends with and not get in trouble. That was fun.
Do not get anywhere near Vladimir when he has one of those clear soft shotguns.
Mm-hmm.
You will regret it.
Yeah, he likes to aim a little low, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
He likes aiming low.
Oh, it sounds like a guy from
90% of his shots are below the belt.
Uh-huh.
And most of his shots are at me.
So the whole reason that airsoft is becoming popular is because it's realistic looking, it's easy to get into, it's cheap. But there are some people who just take this realistically looking gun and think they want attention. So I'm just going to carry it out, and people will notice me, and I'll get some 5 minutes of fame on the media coverage, and I won't get shot because it's not a real gun. Well, you're done ruining it for everybody else. Point in case, the state of Massachusetts, earlier this month, and maybe even late last month, this is the end of September, so either early this month or late last month, House Bill 2040 is coming before the State House, and it will, in addition to a lot of other gun regulations, will ban the sale of gun lookalikes or realistic imitations, which includes airsoft guns. So the state of Massachusetts is saying pretty much we're going to ban airsoft guns in the state of Massachusetts. So, come on, we had this a couple of years ago with California wanting to do pretty much the same thing, but then it went from just banning realistic guns to going to rainbow guns, which is the guns that are brightly colored.
Yeah, the ridiculous paint guns.
Yeah.
Look like some Call of Duty of Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4.
Yeah, all those multicolored guns and everything, because of the fact that they are realistic looking. So, we're going to put a video up on YouTube. We're going to discuss pretty much gun etiquette for airsoft guns, proper ways of storing it, transporting it, and pretty much be smart with it. So that's pretty much the news I have. One last thing, October 19th, 2019, Airsoft Con. I believe Evike is the one sponsoring it. They usually
host it.
They host it and sponsor it. It's out in California. Evike.com, just type in Airsoft Con and they'll lead you to the website. Free to go, but you gotta register so they know how many people's coming.
I'd love to go to one of those.
I would too,
It would be
but
so much fun.
yeah,
But
California
is getting outlet.
It's a little bit far from us here in the great state of Ohio.
I'd love to time it just right to get out there for like a week or two and hit Airsoft Con and then get one of the big Milsim West games like the following weekend or something.
You'd think that they would time that right,
But they don't.
but they don't. So
that'd be a lot of fun.
So we have a discussion going here. As well, you don't know yet because this podcast is brand new, but Ethan is our resident HPA expert for the team. I just got into it, so I'm not an expert, but Ethan's been in it for quite a few years.
I won't say about a year for HPA. For HPA, I used it for a year.
For about a year. So I'm new. He's relatively experienced as far as HPA goes.
Yeah.
At least as far as the money he puts out goes.
And I haven't even started.
And Cody hasn't even started.
Let me
preface this whole thing by saying HPA is not just the... this airsoft has got to be a hobby. It's a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all know, hobbies are expensive. And if you want to be good at your hobby, you know you got to spend some money. HPA is not for beginners. I mean, beginner airsoft guns, you could just go get a G&G, $120. You get a relatively good G&G AEG, automatic electric gun. I think that's what it calls.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. And just get that, a couple of bags of BBs, and 2 or 3 mags, and you're set.
Yeah.
You're set. And you're not going to spend over $100.
Well, don't forget the iPro, of course.
Obviously,
Yeah.
iPro,
Full seal.
full seal. Don't skimp on that.
Yeah,
it's your vision. Okay, one of your main senses. Don't take that.
Now,
away.
I will say, I made the mistake of using paintball masks when I first started out.
I think we all did, starting out.
They're
Not
very easy to get a hold of,
Mhm.
but I would suggest going to like a local airsoft shop or something and get a pair of goggles and then a mesh lower.
Yeah, mesh lower is
You have
important.
less chances of fogging up your goggles when you have to run from location to location. But they also, some will fog up, some won't. Getting like anti-fog wipes do work from time to time. I found that using anti-fog drops actually work a lot better.
Yeah.
You don't have to use them every single time you go out there.
And as we all know, I despise fog. It's the bane of my airsoft existence.
Yeah, it's gonna
I despise it. That's why I went and got a new system. And like I said, we'll be doing a video on all of these. iPro, just basic equipment pro. And I'll be doing a review on the system that I have. It's the X-Fog system. Little plug for them. Free of charge. But back to what we were saying. HPA is expensive. I think just in what I've got in it, I just put a Polestar F2 V2 engine in it, in my gun, tank, line, and everything, regulator.
And
All
the,
told, I believe I spent over $600
and the,
just in that. So
the battery for your FCU.
that all came together. Yeah, battery for the FCU is $25.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they're not too expensive. No, unless you get the Titan HP battery, you're gonna be spending a little bit more, but it's worth it.
And you know what? But I've had this battery for a little bit, and it's worked pretty well. I haven't actually had it die on the field, so. And those lipos, they charge really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Ethan, let's talk about this. Just in general, what is some of the benefits of HPA?
The benefits of HPA is you get those nice consistent shots. You're able to put a suppressor with some foam filled into it, dial down the noise, even though it's illegal in the state, but we still do it. You're able to.
You did not hear that.
You're able to do a lot of things too. You're able to, if you got yourself a fusion engine, you're able to put different parts to get better air efficiency. You're able to change out the barrel. You could use a wide bore barrel to get those nice consistent shots. You can get a tight bore, you get more range. You're able to use .32s and higher to shoot through brush and able to hit your target.
Another thing I've seen though is when you have the higher gram BBs, your FPS drops. I mean, when I shoot it, I'm shooting below 300 for my FPS, but it still travels as far and it still hits as hard. So I guess there is trade-off there. You can't shoot as fast, but you still have, it still flies because of the mass of the bullet. Supposedly.
Well, I mean, there is a reason why we have to have the FPS lower.
For joule count.
For the joule. If you have it like up to 300, if you have it over, I believe it's like 350 or higher, you are able to puncture some skin, and you're gonna have a big well, and then it's
pain,
yeah.
I have been on the wrong end of a few of those.
And plus, I mean, now unless you're running a DMR or a sniper, you're able to have a 400 FPS limit, but you have an MAD distance. I believe it's 50 feet at Fallen Warrior. Other fields they might vary with that.
And some fields just decide they don't want to do it all together. And that's some of the cons. I mean, the cons of HPA, obviously price point is, you really got to be committed to airsoft. You really have to love this hobby.
Yeah.
Love this sport. But it's the same as anything else. I mean, I'm also a musician. I love guitars. Guitars are not cheap at all. Mm-hmm. So, and if you're into, let's not even talk about if you're actually into firearms. Firearms are not expensive. If you're into cars, they're not cheap either.
Especially when you keep losing them in boating accidents.
Yes. Like my AR. Lost it in a boating accident. It was tragic. Still haven't found it.
Press F to pay respects.
So yeah, other cons are you can't always use HPA at fields. There are some fields, I know a lot of CQB fields, indoor fields, do not allow it.
And they banned it.
Because of the fact that you got a gun that's shooting 400 feet per second with a 36 gram bullet, you're really gonna puncture some skin when somebody jump scares you.
That, and also some fields you're not allowed using full auto. Well, there's a thing called a speed trigger. You adjust that to the T. You have your finger go and just it'd be like people think, oh, you're using full auto. Be like, no, this is full auto, and you show them what full auto is, and you have that rate of fire to 80 rounds per second, like me. But that's not the point.
You and your LMG. Or is that in your M4?
It's my Mark 18, yeah. Yeah, I have around 80 rounds per second.
I have been on the wrong end of his light machine guns, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it is quite terrifying when you turn around the corner and all you see is a laser beam of BBs coming in your general direction. It is not fun.
Do you run tracer rounds through yours?
No, not yet. I'm planning on getting a Max Tracer hop-up unit that will plug into my SCU unit, and I'm able to use tracers.
So, pros and cons. We've already discussed the pros. There's a lot of pros as far as adjustability. Another con, though, is it's complicated, especially if you're new into it. There's a lot of complications around it. I mean, you can just drop in a engine into your gun, but you're also going to have to replace your barrel. You're going to have to replace a lot of things. I just replaced the bushing on mine. Bucking, not the bushing, the bucking. And I'm going to have to look to replace my barrel because my barrel is as old as the gun, which is over 10 years old. So if you're going to do one, you got to do it all. I cannot stress enough about the price. And especially it runs off of gas, runs off of air. And around here, there's not too many places that actually fill air tanks for HPA. There's one up in north side of Columbus, Airsoft Alpha.
Yep.
Fallen Warrior, Evan, he does it. But I don't know of too many places
on
around.
the east side of Columbus, place called General Merchandise.
General Merch, yeah.
It's
It
a
does it too.
Airsoft, paintball, and Army surplus store does it. We've gone there a few times to get tanks filled.
But those are all outside of 30 minutes drive from us. So
Yeah.
there's not too many places around where you can refill your tanks. So it's, I think I'm always on the field. It's always good to, if your HPA system goes down, you need to have a backup, either a sidearm or a run off the field and grab an AEG.
Well,
So?
Ethan always brings an M4, an AEG M4 with him.
Just in case it
That
does
I've
go down.
seen.
The backup, yo.
Yeah.
And then you always have me that has like 5 guns with me for some odd reason or
5
another.
guns, 2 arms. That's all he has.
Yeah. But I have gotten around to actually running 3 guns at one time. That was fun. My 1911, I was running the my DMR class, and then I had this squad, the squad shared grenade launcher on my vest, and that thing gets heavy after a while. It ain't that heavy though when you're actually holding it. It ain't that heavy. But when you have it attached to your vest and you're running around with it for half hour to an hour trying to find people in a chaos game, it gets a little heavy. Especially when you're trying to find this one and can't find him until you're already dead.
So, yeah, that is another benefit of HPA is you can silence your gun pretty well. I mean, I have mine. It's quiet. Was loud. Now it's quiet. Of course, on the other side, you can also make it very loud, as you have a noise. What is it? Increaser, we'll call it.
No, it's a loudenser.
Loudenser. We have a silencer and a loudenser.
I've seen
Amplifier.
videos
There we go.
of real guns. They put this giant muzzle brake on it, and
Just
it's
to
called a loudenser, and it makes the gun so much louder.
And I don't know why, but other than for the concussion force.
It's just funny.
So, Ethan, let's say somebody decides, yeah, I'm going to get into HPA. Where is the first thing you should look for?
I'll just ask them what their how much are they willing to spend, because there are different different tiers of prices. If you spend a little, you get what you get, and if you spend a lot, you get what you get. I mean, for example, there's a Polestar makes a drop insert called a Polestar Jack. That's your cheapest route, but you'll be running out of air a lot because it doesn't have really good air efficiency. Like a fusion engine, which is your highest point, pay point. That's what I have in my LMG and my Mark 18.
That's what I got in mind, too.
I have a fusion, and I'm able to install a lightning banjo, a low flow poppet. I can change out the nozzle, so I can change the FPS, change the air efficiency, so I can carry more air in my tank and run all day.
So that's the starting point. Would obviously be your engine. I mean, it'd be useless if you got the tanks and everything first, and then you just don't buy the engine. Now you just have tanks.
Yeah.
So tanks are next. You have your engine. Now you have your tank. when I got mine from Amped Airsoft. Free plug for you, Amped Airsoft. And I paid about $130 or so for a tank, reg, and line. All three came together. Oh, and my they sent another FCU battery, so I got 2 FCU batteries.
That's a plus right there.
They sent it all to me for about $130, $140. That being said, the tank they sent is a 64, and it's metal. It's heavy. It's bulky. But it is efficient and it works. And so until I can get another one. Tanks are also another high price point. I mean...
Yes, depending on what kind of cubic inch you get. For, say, I have a 45 tank, carbon tank. It's like, I believe that was $145 just for that tank, and it's pretty small. But I run that with my Mark 18 because I don't use a lot of air since it's a shorter barrel. Now for my LMG, I run 2 tanks. I run a 90-45 tank, and those are $210 a piece.
So in addition to your, we'll call $400 or $500 engine, you're also going to pay for your tanks. The tank I got, 64. It's a fairly nice sized tank. Metal. It's heavy, but I only paid like $80 for it. So not bad at all for that. Regulators. Your reg is, I guess, outside of your engine and tank, your reg is going to be your next most expensive thing.
Yeah.
Regs, I got the Amped Airsoft Special. Pretty bulky. I mean, it's squared, but it's got your gauge and your adjuster on top. But I seen you were looking at another regulator.
I have another regulator. It's a smaller reg. That cost me $120, and that's from Polestar. I mean, it's
Pretty
pretty
much does-
expensive, but smaller.
Yeah,
so
pretty
more
much does the same
compact.
thing. And that's the thing. If you're running your HPA, unless you put your stuff on your back like I do, and I think a lot of us do, a lot of us have it on their back, weight gets to be an issue because it will, I mean, if you have a vest like I do, it goes over your front and just, I don't actually have a way to secure it to my pants. So it likes to slide back and I end up choking myself. So I have to constantly adjust. So weight is obviously an issue, especially if you're running over hill and dale, over the river and through the woods.
Especially at Fallen Warrior.
Especially at Fallen Warrior where
That's
we're
all
at.
there is to do most of the time.
If you
unless
get
you're in town.
If you get an open field, open area like what we play at, we got a lot of hills, a lot of woods, a lot of creeks. You're going to be walking, running for a while. And, yeah, that weight will get to you after a while. But if you're in a short area, short CQB, you don't really notice it too much unless you're in a full-out sprint.
Oh, yeah.
In which case, your stamina turns into that of the Call of Duty guys.
And now
Run
there's
20 feet, breathe real heavy, waits 3 minutes, then you can sprint some more.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no perk that you can,
So,
equip.
and as everything, yeah, you don't get any perks here.
Lightweight and all that.
I wish I could get scavenger. That'd be a nice perk, wouldn't it?
You can get that in End of Days.
Yeah, you do.
Kill an enemy, you can get his ammo.
So, weight is always a consideration. So, but in everything, you get what you pay for. You want to go to the lower end and build your way up. Okay, you're going to be spending a little more money, but at least you can get a feel for it. And if you really like it, and that's the thing. HPA, you need to have a sort of a test run of something. Because if you're going to spend all this money and then you find out you don't like it, well, now you've just spent a lot of money for something that there's not a high market for, to be honest.
It's really hard to sell, too, because since Facebook doesn't allow any kind of firearm replicas, you can't sell them on Facebook, so it's hard. And there's a couple apps that pop up, but a lot of people just doesn't want to take a bite out of it.
Yeah, especially with what happened with Craigslist a couple of years ago, people posting ads and then you show up to buy it and they rob you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a thank you, you weirdos, for ruining something really good. So yeah, there's not a lot of market for it to resell. So do your research. YouTube has got a lot of videos on the specifics for HPA. I mean, as good as we are, or we talk ourselves up to be, we're not really the best experts on it. But that's why you have the internet now. Such a wonderful place. Go and find a lot of. Go and find
YouTube University.
YouTube University is.
To put it.
Yeah, YouTube University. You can do just about anything on there. Find out a lot about it. If you like it, it's really a great thing. If you find you enjoy it, find you like it, it's a hobby. You got a lot of money you can put into there. I mean, I'm looking at what is it? The American Arms, or what is that company that does has the micro gun on it?
Classic Army?
Yeah.
Classic Army. Thank you, Ethan. That's why I bring you along. Classic Army has the micro gun, 4-barreled minigun. I really want it. I really like it, but it's $625. More than what I paid for my whole setup. I will be getting it here really soon. And I have a $220 adaptation so that I can put it on the truck.
Yeah.
Truck mount.
So,
Maybe we can pull the team for that one, since it'll be a team weapon. All right, so this has been our HPA episode. Ethan, thank you for coming along.
Absolutely.
Cody, thank you for putting in your 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, I'm mostly listening because I don't have an HPA setup yet.
So it's always good to learn.
So it's more of me sitting here to learn. I do have a question, though.
Okay.
You don't just get into HPA right away, like you said earlier, but when would a good time to start looking into HPA? Because I've been into Airsoft for about 7, possibly 8 years now, actually going to fields. What do you think would be a good time to start looking into HPA?
As far as experience level?
Kinda.
Ethan, it'd be up for you.
Usually, if you want a brand new HPA system, best time to start and look is when 4th of July, when they decided, hey, we're gonna discount any fusion engines, F2s, F1s, jacks, all that fun stuff. That's when you're able to get it. Now, if you want to start right away, go on Hop Up. People sell F2s, F1s, fusion engines, jacks for a good price, and some of their HPA systems they have, they're already pre-built, already in the gun. All you have to do is just buy it. Also, just if you're sketchy about people selling HPA systems, like, oh, I feel like this guy's selling a leaker here, check out their vouchers. If they have 71 vouchers, 73, 90, 100, get it. Because I bought a fusion engine from Hop Up, and the fusion engines run for $550, and I got mine for $375.
That's always a good thing. And as far as experience, like, when in the course of your
Career.
we'll call airsoft career, it all depends on how comfortable you think you are. How confident you are. Do you really just like it that much and you really want to become proficient? Go ahead. Like myself, I don't get a lot of kills, but I am a body. I can honestly say I've won a couple of matches and I didn't get one kill. I was the runner. But I do know that I like it, and it fits my play style because it's so adjustable. I can, honestly, if I wanted to, I could just take the whole fusion engine and everything out of my gun and put it in a DMR M4. Run the same. I just crank the FPS up, crank the pressure up. It's so adjustable. That's a plus. But it also is. Have you decided that this is your sport, your career, what you really want to do? If so, go with it. Improve on it. You've been playing for 8 years. I was playing for 10 years with a little Clearsoft, as you'd call it, the Clearsoft
Well,
guns.
if we're counting years of Clearsoft, I'd be more like 11 because I started about 2 years before I moved down here.
Yeah.
And then it was like a half a year that I didn't do anything because I didn't have anybody to play with. And then found Vladimir.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's go shoot each other with these.
Always the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it all depends on how comfortable you are with your play, how confident you are, and really if you've decided this is your sport and you want to go with it.
Yeah. I do have another question that would give more insight to the team a bit.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first actual gun that you saved up money and bought?
Would be my M4, the one that I have now. I bought it, yeah, that would be the first one. I bought it off of Caleb for $150 10 years ago.
Yeah, my soon-to-be brother-in-law.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
And ever since then, I kept building. I put a new rail system on the front, new stock on the back, new engine, new AEG engine in it. The only thing I haven't replaced on it from now is the lower receiver. It's plastic and still says G&G arms. That's the only thing I haven't replaced on that gun.
You should get a real steel one.
I do want to get one.
Really cool.
So, but it is a custom gun. You could call it a G&G, but it's not. It's a custom gun.
It's a custom build, yeah.
Just about everything in it is aftermarket. That was my first gun that I saved up and bought.
What about you, Ethan?
My very, I bought 2 guns at the same time. The first one was a Echo 1 G36K. That thing was a monster. And then the other gun that I used all the time was a KWA SR7 with a nice paint job onto it. I already had an R-hop, already had a tight bore, everything. And I also got some other goodies along with it for $80 for the whole thing.
Nice.
Bought it from a buddy of mine from school.
I feel so terrible about mine now.
What?
Because I spent about $90 all in all to get the thing.
What?
But it was a cheap one. It was a, what do you call it? It was a Thompson submachine gun with a drum mag. It was all blacked out.
I remember that one too.
And I used it as a light machine gun because everybody else had like M4s and AKs, but they were all like the cheaper versions that you would find at like Walmart back in the day.
Yeah, I got one from Myers after
getting all ridiculous on everything.
Yeah,
but I actually unscrewed the stock, put the wiring back into the gun, and had a little pouch I sewn together to hook to the side of the gun in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I used it as a light machine gun against them because I had that big old drum mag that held like almost 2,000 rounds when everybody else only had like 300. I'd just sit there and hold the trigger and just keep winding the front of the mag. Just constantly. Everybody hated it. But it's the same one that Max used.
Mm-hmm.
My little brother when we took him to level up and he was a turret. Same gun. Used it the same way. I still have the stock at home, but the gun's at Max's house.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. If you like this, obviously, leave a like and subscribe. We're trying to get enough subscribers, and I think once we hit about 1,000 or 2,000, we will approach some core companies. Because YouTube is fickle as far as airsofting goes. We cannot...
yeah, they don't really care for us.
Yeah, we cannot ask for ad revenue because they will not give it to us because we talk about guns and airsoft. They don't like it. So we're going to go and approach another way. We're going to look for sponsors, see if we can get some companies to sponsor, and we'll send out ads and do videos on any products they wish to send us. So, but before we do that, we're going to have to get some subscribers. So leave a like, subscribe.
We'd really appreciate it.
We would. We're going to get some gameplay videos up as soon as all members of the team get cameras. Because as far as it is, myself and Ethan are the only ones that have cameras. And as I've said, I don't get that many kills. I just win games. I don't get a lot of kills, but I just win
I wish I
games.
would have had a camera
I
the
get a
time
lot
that I
of games.
snuck up on him at the last game we were at. Didn't see me at all and snuck up on him and another guy. And then Slagle killed me. And Slagle was on my own team. Because I was down by where they were. Snuck up to him real good.
Yeah. Ethan gets kills but doesn't win games. I win games. I just don't get that many kills. So,
And I usually lose games, but I get kills.
yeah, he does both.
All
All right. Thank you, boys, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you for joining the pack.